boys and girls, it's Miss Ali from the library and her friend, the little blue dragon. Okay, and we are here today to bring you another wonderful story. What's it going to be, you ask? Well, wait and see, because first of all, we have got to get, what have we got to get turned on? Yes? Do you know it? He knows it. Well, he knows it very well because he's made of pure imagination. So let's get our hands rubbed together. And can we feel it? Can I feel it? Can I feel it coming through the airwaves? That me? Imagine a story. Imagine a book. Imagine a story. Open our eyes and let's have a look. So, the story I have for you today is called The Secret Garden. Now, there's some interesting things about this book. This is a picture book, as you can see, not very many pages. And it's actually, A Secret Garden is a version, it's a retelling of an original book, which I've got lots of in the library. So when you're a bit older, you might want to check it out. It's a great story set up north in Yorkshire, which is kind of where I grew up. But it was originally written, or it is based on a story. You can see here lots of information by Frances Hodgson Burnett, who also wrote A Little Princess and also Little Lord Fauntleroy. But this, The Secret Garden, I think is one of her most famous books. Now, it's been retold by a lady called Susanna Davidson. So Susanna Davidson's probably read The Secret Garden over and over and over again and pulled out the key parts. And actually a key is a very important part of this story. But yeah, the special parts, the main parts of the story to create this beautiful picture book. And then she got her friend, Alan Marks, to illustrate it, to do the pictures. So thank you, Alan Marks. Thank you, Susanna Davidson, and thank you, Frances Hodgson Burnett, for making this story. Okay, but who else do we need to thank? Because it's all very well having the idea, writing the words, drawing the pictures, but you need a special company before you can actually get your book in the bookshelf or kind of in the bookshops so that they can be bought to go on your bookshelf at home or bookshelf in the library. Can we remember what kind of company that is? What's that? He knows it. I know it. Do you know it? What's that? What's that? Yes! The publisher. And the publisher of this book is, if I look on the back, I can't find it. It's Usborne. So Usborne Books. Okay. Now, before I open the pages, what else do I need to look at? What do I find on the back? Little blue dragons jumping up and down going, get on with the story. We all know it's the blurb. What's that? Yes, it's the blurb. And what does the blurb do? The blurb gives us a little taste, tells us a little bit about the book. And so we can decide quite often, oh, yeah, fancy the sound of that. Or, no, that's not really my cup of tea. He's saying, hurry up, I want to hear the story. Right, so discover the charm of Frances Hodgson Burnett's classic story in which two lonely children's lives are transformed by the wonder and magic of a secret garden. Ooh, excited. So, you're going to help me prop the book up? Right, okay, here we go. So, the last time Mary Lennox saw her parents was in the garden outside their house in India. That night, a terrible fever swept through the house. Mary's mother and father both died. Mary felt as if she were all alone in the world. Then a letter arrived from her uncle, Mr. Craven, inviting her to England to stay. So she went to England and up to Yorkshire. I don't like it here, thought Mary, as she crossed the wild, windswept moors. Very different from India. India's lovely and warm, isn't it? Whereas up north in Yorkshire, it can be a bit cold and wet and rainy. She arrived at the house late that night. Her uncle was away, the housekeeper said, and left her alone in a shadowy room. Outside, the wind howled like a lonely person. In the morning, Mary wandered out of the house into a wintry garden where an old man was digging. "What's behind that wall?" she asked. "Ah," said the gardener, "that's the secret garden. Mr. Craven shut it up when his wife died. Then he buried the key and went away." As he spoke, a robin fluttered up and perched nearby. He cocked his head and looked at Mary. "Will you be my friend?" she whispered. "Ah, you sound just like our Dickon," said the gardener. "He talks to all wild things. Now, lass, run along, missy. I've got work to do." Mary watched the robin fly off and decided to follow him. "Show me the key to the secret garden," she begged. The robin swooped down and hopped around on the ground. "He is trying to show me something," thought Mary. She scrabbled in the soil and found a rusty key. Mary searched and searched for the door to the garden. Then, one day, when the wind came in the sweet-scented gusts from the moor, she found it. Can we see? She's found the door underneath the ivy. She put the key in the lock, and the door creaked slowly open. Mary was inside the secret garden. It was a magical, mysterious place. A hazy tangle of rose branches and spiky green shoots thrust up through the wintry ground. Oh. Mary spent all morning in the garden, entranced. The shoots looked so crowded she cleared spaces around them. The robin chirped as though pleased someone was gardening here at last. Can you see the robin? Outside, she saw a boy with a fawn by his side. The fawn is like a little deer. "Are you Dickon?" she asked shyly. He nodded. "Can you keep a secret?" Mary asked. I keep secrets all the time," Dickon replied. "Secrets about fox cubs and birds' nests. I can keep your secret, lass." "Come with me," whispered Mary, and led him to the secret garden. Dickon looked around as if in a dream. "I never thought I'd see this place," he murmured. "Help me make it come alive," said Mary. Yes, whispered Dickon. "We'll make it the prettiest garden in England." The winter passed into spring. One blustery night, Mary couldn't sleep. Then she was woken by a cry that pierced the wind. She followed it down dark passages until she reached a door with a glimmer of light beneath it. What's she going to find? Inside the room was a vast carved bed with a boy in the middle of it, sobbing. "Are you a ghost?" whispered Mary. "No," he snapped. "I'm Colin Craven." "Mr. Craven is my uncle," said Mary. "Are we cousins? Why did no one tell me about you?" "I'm not well," Colin replied. "My mother died when I was born and my father can't bear to look at me." "Just like the secret garden," said Mary, and she told him all about it, about the sun and the rain and the buds bursting into flower, while Colin closed his eyes and dreamed of a garden coming alive. Mary raced to Colin's room the next morning. "I've brought a friend to meet you," she said. "Will you take me to the garden?" asked Colin. They rushed down the paths. Mary flung back the ivy and opened the garden door. Sunshine lit up sprays of flowers, and the air was alive with birdsong. "I can feel things growing," gasped Colin. "You can work with us in the garden," said Mary. Colin's pale face grew rosy in the sunlight. "And maybe I'll get well," he whispered. Every day they played and they worked in the garden, and every day Colin grew stronger. "If only my father could come and see me," thought Colin, and he began to wish, "Come home, come home, come home." One night, Colin's father, far away in Italy, had a strange dream. He heard his dead wife calling his name. "Where are you?" he pleaded. "In the garden," came the reply. Mystery. Mr. Craven returned home at once. He rushed to the garden. As he came down the path, he heard children laughing behind the wall. "How can that be?" he thought. "The garden must be dead. I buried the key." At that moment, Colin and Mary burst out of the garden door. "Colin!" gasped his father. "Is that really you?" "I'm better, Father. I'm well at last. It was Mary and the garden." "The garden," he murmured, "just like my dream." "It's a magical garden," said Mary. "Come inside and see." Well, there we go. It's a happy ending. Do you like gardening? I am very fond of gardens and gardening. I love a secret garden. What about you, little blue dragon? What's that? He's telling me that it is time for tea. So I better go and make him some, hadn't I? So what do we say? Well, what do I say? It's goodbye from him and goodbye from me. Have a lovely day full of lots of lovely books. Bye. Bye.